your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I really appreciate it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. It is a Thursday edition of the program. Not only do we have an insider's perspective, we got a sideline perspective, X, as Tony Christian joins us on Thursday. So we're excited to have her back in with us. It's going to be a great show. We'll pick up some from yesterday. But we definitely will hit recruiting here in just a moment. But we were reminding you, like we do each and every day, that this is the day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. And on a somber note, we do want to send up our thoughts and our prayers to the Russell family as the surprisingly unexpected passing of Alabama's future QB1, Keelan Russell's twin sister, Kirsten Russell, passed on yesterday. Just know that it was a non-criminal act, so just lift that family up in your prayers, and any of the, people that she had connected with in her short time here, as well as those who just graduated with her, because it's tough. And I just lost my brother, and he was 57, and it still hits at times now. And impacts me in ways now. So, and I just couldn't imagine what he's going through. So let's just remember him in our prayers, and not just during this time, but, as the season comes along and all of the plans and things that they were making. And it's a tough situation. So remember that challenge that I give you every day. Notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference. Do that every day to the people that matter in your life. Do it every day, because you don't know when that day or that time is going to come. So we just encourage you to do that. So, all right. X, I'm going to toss it to you. We got a lot of topics to get to, but including, potentially the FBI, Ryan Williams, and the sledgehammer and the ant comment, and so much more. But big news last weekend on the recruiting front, as well as the upcoming weekend. And hey, listen, if you want to get in on the comments or reaction, you can always post in the live stream chat if that's the way you join us, or on the radio airwaves. You can call us at 205-342-9904. And if you're logged in via the app, you can add your thoughts and comments in there as well.
Yeah, condolences definitely go out to Keelan Russell and his family in this time of mourning and loss. Losing a loved one is never easy, so just keep that family and friends in your prayers. Just graduating high school, that is way too young to go. So much life left to live, so just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. But getting into recruiting news, Alabama had its first big weekend of recruiting this past week. A lot of big names from Booty Fisher, the wide receiver out of DeSoto, Texas. Keelan Russell's former high school teammate, Kevin Ford Jr., who had a really good weekend. Quarterback Jack Kamala, the Iowa State commit, was here last weekend. Noah Wilson, just a long list of guys, but a couple guys that their weekend, I guess, kind of stood out in a major way. You have offensive lineman Bryson Cooley. He uh, he is out of West Jones High School, 6'6", 315 pounds. He has said Alabama has moved into his top spot. Mom, dad loved it and really enjoyed his visit. So sitting high on the list for Cooley. So he's a 3-star. So it'll be interesting to see if Alabama can land him and see how that goes throughout the season. Of course, Jet Washington, the safety, 6'5", 200 plus pounds already. The nephew of the late Kobe Bryant had a really good weekend. Says it's really seemed to be a battle between Bama and Oregon for his commitment. Booby Feaster, as I said, really enjoyed himself. Talked about being the impact and having the chance to play with Keelan Russell, as well as 4-star wide receiver Kenny Darby, who also talked about potentially playing with Keelan Russell in the future, who is an LSU commit. But the biggest news from this past weekend is from 4-star defensive lineman Titan Davis out of Missouri. This young man is a monster, 6'4", 270 pounds. He has canceled his visit to Michigan and is expected to cancel his visit to USC. So if that's something that is already in the works, it's a really good sign for Alabama to end up landing Titan. Oh, and his visit to Penn State, which was scheduled for this weekend. So those you get 4 visits. He's already canceled 2. Looks like he's going to cancel his 3rd one as well. So
He
leaning,
canceled the one this weekend.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's that generally means
The
that
commitment is coming.
you don't want to talk. Well, you don't want to talk to somebody else right now. You don't want any more. You haven't completely decided on Alabama, but you got enough that Alabama is where you're going, unless. And that doesn't mean he won't reschedule down the road. But is he planning to make a commitment before the season?
Yeah, he said he wanted to commit at some point this summer. He hasn't set an official date yet for it, but like I said, all the insiders are leaning Bama big time with him now that he started to cancel visits.
Which visit did he not take? Has he not canceled yet?
USC.
And where is he from?
Missouri.
Okay. That'll be interesting. That's a big need for Alabama, and they may have convinced him of that.
But in the 2 visits he did cancel were Michigan and Penn State, which are closer. Those are both closer to home, and he decided to cancel those. So
yeah, you know what? Hey, Tony Christian, you know what that is? You know why he hadn't canceled USC?
Why?
The trip to LA.
Trip to California. He's gonna get that paid. He's gonna get that paid trip to Cali. I'm just kidding.
And a weekend out in LA. Hey, there's worse things to do before deciding to go to Tuscaloosa.
Right.
I mean, you know, I'm serious that's probably. I said I was joking, but when you look at it, you go, he's Missouri. He could probably. He probably even been to Penn State and to Michigan. but he may not have been to California and get a mom and dad like, son, that's a free trip for all of us, right? So anyway, it'll be interesting to see if he cancels that, and if he doesn't, does he take the visit and then commit to Alabama? Because it sounds like it's possible that he's already committed behind the scenes, because that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and there were talks of a couple guys might be silent commits for the moment, but Titans on first one to publicly make any decisions that really look in the favor of Alabama. But this weekend, it doesn't stop. It's another crazy weekend of big name recruits coming into Tuscaloosa, and as Courtney Morgan dubbed this summer summer rain REIGN to make sure. I was like, got distracted by the line square. That it's another big weekend, but we have 4-star linebacker / safety Karan Maycock from Florida. He's coming in this weekend, and then Jordan Edmonds, 5-star cornerback from Sprayberry High School in Georgia. He's in Bama commit. He'll be here. Jamarian Matthews, top 100 edge from Gainesville High School in Georgia. He'll be here this weekend. Kamarion Johnson, 4-star defensive lineman from Muscle Shoals. He'll be here this weekend. Jamarian Matthews' teammate Xavier Griffin, 5-star linebacker who's been crystal ball to Alabama, will be here this weekend. Jair Edwards, 5-star safety from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore. That's the same school that Chris Braswell came from. He'll be here this weekend. Derek Cooper, the number 2 running back in the class from Chaminade Madonna Prep in Miami. That's one of the big powerhouses. That's Jeremiah Smith, who plays at Ohio State High School. You have Caden Prothro, number 2 tight end. He's 6'7", coming in this weekend. And who knows? It's an interesting battle between him and Georgia. Georgia's got several tight ends on their board. Alabama has several tight ends on their board. Kind of interesting how that will play out with Xavier Tiller, who has both of those teams on his board, being in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. You've got another in-state kid, Jaquez Wilkes from Watley High School, top 100 edge, coming in, 6'4", 215 pounds. Small 1A school. He plays everywhere. Running back, tight end, edge, safety, kick returner. This dude is a Swiss Army knife on the football field, but is projected as an edge at the collegiate level. Matt Ponatowski, the number 9 quarterback in this class out of Moeller High School in Cincinnati. He's uncommitted. He'll be here this weekend. And crazy thing, he was Ohio's Gatorade Football Player of the Year, and then just turned around and won their Baseball Player of the Year. So dual sport athlete. Both of these quarterbacks that Alabama are looking at dual sports. Tamala plays basketball, and a little bit bigger guy. He's 6'5". Ponatowski's about 6'2", 190. So interesting that both of these guys and how that could potentially play into their commitment down the road. Samuel Utu, 4-star interior offensive lineman from Lutheran High School in California, will be here this weekend. Kamari Brooks, 4-star edge from North Onacy High School in Bogart, Georgia, will be here. And Brian Williams Jr., 3-star wide receiver from Lake Mary High School in Florida, will be here. So another crazy weekend when you look at the total number of guys that'll be here this weekend. But hey, we need to get the break, and we'll wrap this up on the other side. This is the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, and we have Tony Christian Ford joining us as she does on Thursdays. We'll be back.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Good Thursday morning to you as we are looking at a purpose-driven ride across the Tuscaloosa side streets. Also, freeways are looking good as well. Lurleen Wallace at McFarland intersection, all peachy for you right now. And then moving on 43 on the southbound lane to McFarland, only a tap on the brakes, nothing severe. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Just announced 0% for up to 60 months on all 2025 Nissan Rogue SUVs and the 2025 Nissan Pathfinders. Wow. Don't wait. Just shop now. Townsend Nissan today.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
With Taco Casa, it's not really fast food because it's made fresh every day in the store. The quality hasn't changed. The consistency hasn't changed because we haven't changed anything in the food. It's made fresh every morning in every restaurant. I think buzzwords in today's food industry are locally sourced and high quality ingredients. We want to say, that sounds great. We've been doing that since 1974. Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa.
In a world full of impressions, clicks, and empty promises, your trades business needs more than marketing. At Ignite Home Services, we fuel the trades.
If you're grinding every day but stuck on a plateau, Ignite Home Services is your secret lead generation weapon.
We're not just a marketing company. We are the lead generation experts. Plumbing, built to deliver real growth.
We don't chase clicks, we chase results. Powered by Pipeline Pro, our AI-backed lead tracking system.
Preferred media partners with Service Titan, Roofle, Chirp, and yes, we partner with Google.
We're tech-driven, human-led, ROI obsessed.
So if you're a resident, and let's fuel the trades.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A partly sunny sky today. A few isolated showers or thunderstorms around this afternoon or this evening. The high today 86, the low tonight 70. Tomorrow morning sunshine, a few scattered afternoon storms, the high 87. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 71 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're live, local, ready to get things going. It is the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. And as we continue that talk and conversation around recruiting, got just a couple follow-up questions for you. X, and of course, Blind Squirrel Sport asking about Xavier Crowell visit to Athens and what that means. And you mentioned Alabama having the number 2 running back in town. which one of those guys is Alabama most likely to sign, or which one is, the crystal ball leaning more toward? Is it one versus the other?
Oh yeah, definitely. The crystal ball is for Xavier Crowell is definitely Alabama. He's been crystal ball by Steve Wilfong, and it's the Fong bomb. He's really seen as the top guy in the industry when it comes to recruiting. And normally, if he crystal balls you, that's where you end up going. I heard he had a good weekend too in Georgia. Him and Sedarian Morgan, but both of those guys will be on Alabama's campus next week, so we'll definitely hit that as well.
All right.
Cooper's projected to go to Miami.
Okay. So that's good. We need that to stay that way if we want Crowell. The Ponitowski guy yesterday, Wyatt and I had some conversations around whether or not is this the type of quarterback that Alabama ends up really needing in the class, a guy who doesn't have to get on the field immediately yet still be playing a collegiate sport, meaning Alabama could possibly buy some time for him to develop and give some separation between him and Keelan while pitching. And Wyatt and I both thought that was a good idea, but Wyatt leaned a little bit toward, yeah, but man, if he's as good as they say he is, and that 98, mile, power fastball only is going to probably get probably up to 100. Yeah. If a good enough contract comes calling, even though he said he wants to play both, it may be hard to turn down a bird in the hand. So I guess is he one of those high schoolers that's the type of kid Alabama needs to sign? And is Alabama working hard on an NIL deal to try to secure him?
He would be in this situation with the Alabama's quarterback room moving forward, at least for the 2026 season. Ponitowski is a guy that I would lean for Alabama signing because of the dual sport aspect, where you can go, hey, you're going to have to wait, but while you're waiting, you can play the other sport that you love at a high level as well. And, he could be a guy that could definitely help Alabama on the baseball diamond as well as in the future on the football field.
Yeah, and Wyatt, you can jump. I'll jump back in on this. Here's the question: is Ponitowski really, like, if what we just talked about, he signs and that's part of the reason he chooses Alabama? Is he really just the guy, just in case guy, and then they go after somebody else in the following class when there's been some actual separation? Because the reality of it is, even though he's good, do you really want your quarterback to be split between those two sports? You love to have him on the roster instead of in the portal and have one quarterback or two quarterbacks in your room. But would he really just be buying you time?
I hope he's a placeholder. And that's not a knock on him. It's because of who is in this state in the 2027 class. And that's Gunnar Rivers, Phillip Rivers' son. Alabama and Auburn managed to let Phillip get out of the state all those years ago. But hopefully, Coach DeBoer isn't going to let that happen with Gunnar. Gunnar's is projected as a 5-star. He's got his dad's build with a little bit more athleticism mixed in. So, hopefully in the 2027 class, that's who we're pushing after extremely hard with his talent level and pedigree.
Even if you miss on Gunnar Rivers, just give it like 2 years and you'll have another kid that you can go try and get.
That's true. There'll be another Rivers.
One of my questions with Ponitowski is with him playing baseball as well, do you almost feel the need to get a second quarterback in this class just in case baseball is something that Ponitowski decides to pursue? Yes. I feel like Jet Tamala is a little bit of a safer pick. He may not be, I don't want to discredit him, He may not be as good as Ponatoski is throwing the ball, but is he a safer option because he doesn't have that baseball track that could pull him away from your roster?
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
It's like both of them kind of have something that like this. I mean, Jet isn't a guy that everybody's going after. I mean, I think his recruiting pedigree is going to go up because he's going to get that Alabama bump. But isn't he committed to like Iowa State?
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, I think Alabama is getting not necessarily the tier one guy. I think they're going after a guy that, regardless of which way, whether it's baseball that keeps Ponatoski here, or if it's, hey, listen, you're going to Iowa State, we'd love to have you come here. Instead of you starting in year 1 or 2 at Iowa State, you can come here and get developed and start in year 3 at Alabama or year 4 and still have 2 to 3 years to play. I think that's the approach, Wyatt, that they're taking with him. And the reality of it is, why do you, Tony Christian, you guys probably, do you know the Phillip Rivers story? Mike Shula, this guy's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, most likely. He's an all-time like leading passer, or was at North Carolina State. His dad was the high school coach. Everything in Alabama was going to, Shula was going to sign him as a tight end.
Dubose.
I mean, Dubose, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was going to sign him as a tight end.
And so was Auburn. And so was Tuberville.
I'm like, you guys totally missed that, dude. Hey, here's another question that I have in regards to what I do like about DeBoer, and it was always one of my complaints with Coach Saban. Coach Saban is the greatest coach of all time, but he had some blind spots or some issues. He would always recruit 2 different types of quarterbacks. He'd have a Jalen Hurts and a Tua. He'd have Ty Simpson and
Milroe.
He had AJ McCarron and Philip. I mean, he always, and I'm not talking about black and white. I'm talking about stylistically. That was not a black quarterback, white quarterback. It just so happened the guys that I chose to name. It was he to me, he never really.
I mean, you can go back to Cooper Bateman and then who was a dual threat, and then turn around and sign David Cornwell the next year, then going and flipping to Blake Barnett, then flipping back to Jalen Hurts like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the track record. It was each class had a different style quarterback, just about.
And that's why we always had which guy's gonna win, which guy's gonna win. And
Star Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he always had that. I don't know. It was like that was always a conflict. It looks like these guys are like, this is the style quarterback we want. Ty Simpson, Jet. And now they may add some athletic ability, but they're starting with the pocket presence type of guy.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what he had even at Washington, you're talking about Michael Penix, who he recruited to Indiana, who was an athletic guy that could throw from the pocket really well. And then Austin Mack is a pocket guy that can move, and Keelan is a pocket guy that can move. So that's kind of where you got on. And appreciate that, Wyatt. And for the record, the 3 quarterbacks that Bama has offered so far are Colton Nussmeier, the brother of Garrett Nussmeier, Trey Taylor, and Trent Seaborn from Thompson High School. So that's an interesting nugget with that. No, but it's just always been an athletic quarterback. And the fact that we haven't offered Gunnar Rivers already is kind of crazy to me. When he's in your backyard as well.
Well, and some of that could be based on what they don't. I mean, that they think that they may not think they have a chance. I mean, but who knows? And there just seems to be plenty of time. One last question on the recruiting front. 3 stars are you gonna begin to see a philosophy where instead of always going for the highest ranked teams, will you see teams start to mix in some 3-stars intentionally, because those guys aren't coming in expecting to play day one, and you don't have to worry about your class being gutted 2 years down the road? Because the reality of it is, right now there's one 5-star quarterback that hasn't transferred from the class of with what's his name, Manning. Ty Simpson and the kid at Clemson are the only two
Jake
that
Klubnik.
Club that hadn't transferred from their class. And if you were to go through if you were to go through other positions, I'm sure that's the case. So are you going to see that philosophy X and guys in terms of that?
I think if you have a guy that is, I think is region based, even with the 3-star approach. If you've got Alabama here in Tuscaloosa, if you've got an in-state kid that's a really talented 3-star, that's a guy you should push for from Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, regionally, because he's not too far from home. Mom and dad can come see him play every weekend, regardless of if it's a home game or, traveling to another school in the SEC. But if you go pull a 3-star from California or Michigan, that you still might have that pull and draw to go back closer to home. So I think the 3-star approach, if you can find a guy like Saban did in his last class of Kirkpatrick, Sanders, guys like that are regionally close, it'll work better.
Why? Any thoughts?
I think I like the regional approach, but then you probably would have missed out on a guy like Josh Jacobs. So I think it's just kind of trusting your scouting department and saying, all right, this is the guy that we think we can develop, and start in your region. Start in Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, the areas that X was talking about, and then expand from there. And if you've got an open scholarship spot and want to take a flyer on, 3-star running back from, yes, the SEC, but maybe a little bit outside of where you typically would be recruiting, go for it. And sometimes those 3-star recruits turn into studs like Josh Jacobs.
Well, Josh Jacobs, Marcel Darius. You even had Rashad Johnson was a walk-on. I mean, some of the bigger names from Alabama have been those 3-star guys. I'm not sure if Quentin Riggins. Oh my good. Quentin Riggins was the guy that I played football with. I'm 55, y'all. Just excuse me. I have a lot of names in my head, but
Williams. He was a 3-star.
Was he a 3-star?
I think he got a bump late, but during the process, he was a 3-star.
He was a 3-star when Alabama
he was a 3-star.
Huh?
Most of his recruitment, he was a 3-star.
And that's what I'm saying. And guess what those guys did? They all bought their time. And I'm telling you, a 21, 22-year-old 3-star is better than an 18 and 19-year-old 5-star all day long, unless it's Ron Williams. And then they're not better than a 17-year-old. But he's the exception to being that dominant. Just think about the reality of, if you're depending on 5-stars that's 18 and 19 to have a championship program, it's not going to happen.
Right.
TC, any thoughts as we get ready to get the break from your viewpoint on that?
Nope.
All right. Well, that sounds good. We'll be back on the other side. That wraps up the recruiting. X. When we come back, man, let's jump onto another topic. We do have someone wanting to send out condolences, so we will give them a chance to do that on the phone lines. We've had a couple come in via the chat. For those of you who don't know, we'll share that information with you when we come back from break.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Good Thursday morning to you as we are looking at a purpose-driven ride across the Tuscaloosa side streets. Also, freeways are looking good as well. Lurleen Wallace at McFarland intersection, all peachy for you right now. And then moving on 43 on the southbound lane to McFarland, only a tap on the brakes, nothing severe. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
One night, two country legends, Pam Tillis and Lori Morgan.
Tuesday, I get a little sideways. Don't tell me.
The Grits and Glamour Tour. Saturday, June 28th at Pearl River Resort's Silver Star Convention Center. Get your tickets now at pearlriverresort.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We got Tony Christian on with us, and we are live, local, and got things rolling, and we have to pay the bills. We thank Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com, where you can find online. They buy junk batteries. They also have reconditioned batteries starting at $60. Have 3 locations to serve you, 205. One in Tuscaloosa, one in Bessemer, one in Northport. They have all of your battery needs, whatever vehicle you need powered or device you need powered, they can help you there. Never feel powerless again. That's DixieBatterySupply.com. And hey, listen, if you're looking to be promoted and looking for a great way to get your name out, especially amongst the Alabama fan base, there's sponsorship opportunities available. You can email Martin at martinhouston.org, and we'll reach out to you and get you set up and join. Talking about recruiting, best roster in the business right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. X, take it away.
All right, we have Super Joe joining us on the Empowerment Strategy Solutions Hotline. How you doing this morning, Super Joe?
Oh, everything all good. You know everything. How's everything going with y'all?
Going good. Going good.
Oh yeah. Well, I just want to go ahead and say roll time, but I want to go pay my respects to Kaylin Ruff about the loss of her sister. My deepest sympathy. You know, I know how that feels to lose a loved one. So, And one thing I was just saying, and just hope just stay encouraged and everything. And just one thing he could do is one thing about it, have this time of grieving right now, and then my heart also goes out to Russell's family as well. So, and I just pray that they for their recovery and all this. But now what I also want to talk about is too, like on the sea, like when we get to play Louisiana Monroe, okay. Like, let me ask you something. Do y'all know if that's going to be a night game, or y'all know if that's going to be somewhere in the morning?
Which game?
The Louisiana Monroe. They're coming in September. We play Louisiana Monroe.
It's I think it's a 2:30 game.
Actually,
I think it's 6:45.
Is it 6:45?
Yeah. I was going to say it actually is. The time is out there. I'll see if I can find.
Florida State's 2:30. ULM is 6:45. Wisconsin's 11 a.m.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me. Was Wisconsin and ULM. That was such a. I was like, huh? Oh, what network are we on that 6:45 game? That's what I was trying to figure out. Maybe that's
the SEC network.
SEC network.
Yeah. So that was kind of, well, I guess not a surprise since it's SEC network. Everybody's going to be eager, especially if Alabama gets a big win against Florida State. Everybody's going to be wanting to watch the Tide. So that's probably not a bad move from the SEC. But I can tell you as a player, X, Y, Tony Christian, when you play those games that in your mind, listen, and this brings up the Ron Williams statement we'll come back to, but when you play the directional schools or the alphabet schools like that, you literally want those games early. I mean, you don't like you want to build hype to play Georgia at night and Florida State at night. But the reality of it is you should take care of business against the ULM, right? So you want to go ahead and get that over with. You don't want to be waiting all night, because the other thing you think happens is you worry about the fan base and them wanting to come to a 6:45 ULM game and wait all day for you to play ULM. It just doesn't happen. So I thought that was, from a fan standpoint and Alabama player standpoint.
As the host of the post-game show, I also want them to play those games early, because that means I'm going to be on the air at 2 a.m.
We all have reasons why this game, ULM should be an 11 o'clock game, right?
I used to hate 11 a.m. kicks. Once I started doing the post-game show, give me all the 11 a.m. kickoffs that I can get. I do not want to be on the air until 2 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's rough.
I'm gonna tell you the worst time is actually the 2:30 game. Like you literally, as a player, you either want. I'm talking about I wanted to either play as soon as I got up, man. You get up, you eat breakfast, boom, you're on your way. You're getting to the stadium. Tony Christian, it'll be interesting to see what the cheerleaders think about which one. But you want to get to the stadium, or you wanted to be able to watch the games all day. The 2:30 game, you missed the morning games, and then when you get home, you're like, man, I don't feel like watching a night game. So you end up really not even getting to watch a lot of football on those game days. Now, Tony Christian, White, you may not know this, Tony Christian is one of the cheerleaders at the university. Now, do the cheerleaders have the same? Do y'all care whether it's 11 o'clock, 2:30? Does the sun matter? Does the night game? What are y'all thinking?
I personally like night games. Also, the stadium just looks better at night.
Yeah.
I think it just depends.
Do what now?
It depends on who we playing. It depends on who we playing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't think you want to play ULM at night in Bryant-Denny often.
I'll tell you from experience, going to the first 3 home games last year. Went to one with my daughter, one with my son. Then I went to the Georgia game with my wife, and the Western Kentucky game was hyped because it was the first game of the season. So it was really good atmosphere. The South Florida game ended up being crazy because of how the game played out. But the atmosphere of that 6:45 kickoff against Georgia, that is probably the most intense atmosphere of a game that I had been to in over a decade. You're talking maybe Texas A&M 2012, LSU 2011 was the last time I saw that stadium that hype.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Super Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Take your partner. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Yeah, that's I know that was an unexpected. That's why I say that's why the tagline is the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. We had no intention of talking about the scheduling, but that's what we love. We're a caller-driven show, listener-driven show, and that's an interesting topic in terms of Alabama football and the stadium, and and while a lot of teams, and we can close with y'all's response to that, a lot of teams, man, are cutting back on their stadiums. Alabama did a little bit, but if Alabama beats Florida State, I don't think Phil and Bryant Denny is going to be any problem. I think that Alabama has a chance. If they can get those first 4 games, if Alabama comes out of those first 4 games undefeated, I think the hype that we had last year will be supported by the production down the road.
Hey, be careful. They came out of the first 4 games undefeated last year, too.
That's why, okay, that's what I said. I said, like last year, I said, but I believe this year it will be supported. I'm going to tell you why on the other side. I'm going to tell you why. I really believe if we can come out 4-0, Wyatt, Xavier, Tony Christian, I think it's a totally different season. Last year, boy, we were hyped, baby. The Tide is back. The Tide isn't going away. Oh, no, Vanderbilt. That may very well be. I'm 55 years old, an Alabama fan since, and this is going to sound funny, I became an Alabama fan when I signed and committed. I was not an Alabama fan before that. So 35 years, 37 years of being an Alabama fan. That has to be one of the highest highs and the lowest lows that I've ever experienced.
Oh,
if Alabama is 4-0 and after the Georgia game, they will what? I want you guys to be thinking about that. And when we come back on the other side, Wyatt, I'm going to address what you said, why we can feel different this year than we did last year.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Thursday morning, River Run Park is a $28 million sports complex next to the spillway of the Black Warrior River in Northport. It'll be the home to several new youth athletic fields. Now the city of Northport has announced Buffalo Rock is partnering with the city as the beverage sponsor for River Run Park. It will be open this fall. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more West Alabama news, sports, and weather all throughout the day. It's absolutely free. Don Huckley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We've got some early morning trouble now on Merlene Wallace, southbound lane to Jack Warner Parkway. Watch out for this accident as it's got traffic bumper to bumper tight back to Fifth Street already. And we move on 2059 pretty nicely, not seeing any severe delays here in between 359 and Joe Malisham. And that's pretty much inside your construction zone. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org.
Just announced 0% for up to 60 months on all 2025 Nissan Rogue SUVs and the 2025 Nissan Pathfinders. Wow. Don't wait. Just shop now. Townsend Nissan today.
The Venue, your new favorite Tuscaloosa hangout. Food, music, and more. Come and taste what's new at The Venue, whether it's Liza's Sweet Shop, whether it's the all-day breakfast and burgers from Ramajama's, or the quality food that you can get at Finish Pub. Great atmosphere, great time, great people, great environment. That's The Venue. You can find them online at thevenuetuscaloosa.com, located off of Watermelon Road, just past Sokol Park. That's The Venue, Tuscaloosa's new favorite hangout. Make it yours.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
The all-new Chow's Country Buffet is open now on 1100 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Southern classics with an Asian twist. All-you-can-eat fried chicken, fried catfish, seafood boil, roast beef, brisket, orange chicken, and over 150 additional items. Chow's Country Buffet will be open for lunch and dinner at 1100 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Or check out the website, chowscountrybuffet.com. Call 205-810-8888. The all-new Chow's Country Buffet, Skyland Boulevard. Join us for a meal to remember.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way each and every day for 50 years and counting. If you're looking for a great option for lunch and or dinner, then you need to check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa, and while you're there, don't forget to get a big glass of that sweet tea. Visit them online at tacocasa.com. That's tacocasa.com. Quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
All right, welcome back in. Welcome back in. I teased you that question as we were going to break there. Complete this statement. If Alabama is 4-0 after Georgia, they will what? Nobody's gonna jump on that. All right. Tony Christian, you go. You want to go first?
Sure. If Alabama's 4-0, they will win the national championship.
Touchdown, Tony Christian. Okay, no. All right. X, you're Wyatt, go.
If Alabama is 4-0, they will finish the season with one loss, win the SEC championship, and make the college football playoffs.
Wyatt?
If Alabama starts 4-0, they will make the college football playoff.
How many losses?
That South Carolina game still scares me. I really respect Lenora Sellers, and you also got to think Caden Proctor, as good as he is, he struggles with pure speed off the edge, and that's what Dylan Stewart is. So that makes South Carolina even more scary. And you always got to worry about the Iron Bowl down in the plains at Auburn. But I'm going to say one loss. I think they go 11-1, compete for the SEC title, and if you're 11-1 playing in the SEC championship, that's an automatic bid into the college football playoff.
Yeah, and Quentin Dixon said Bama would go 11-1 with a loss to either South Carolina or LSU. I'm more concerned with South Carolina because it's there, but I do like our defense's chances this year against Sellers more than I did even last year. So
I will also say South Carolina's defense, as good as Dylan Stewart is, their defense did get worse from last season. No Kyle Kennard on the opposite side. Right. You lost Nick Emenwari to the NFL draft, who was a phenomenal safety. Still some good pieces, but I think it's a defensive unit.
They lost their best guy at every level.
Yeah, I think as a unit, they definitely got worse. Still have stars at certain positions, though.
Yeah, and the reason that I say that, and to your point, Wyatt, is last year against South Carolina, you could help on one side, but not the other. And Pritchett needed more help than Proctor did. So this year, you can put that tight end to Proctor's side and bump or help when you don't have to worry about the other side as much. Don't mean that they won't find some guy.
Well, I think this year, because you don't have that threat of a Kennard, you can use the running back also. The tight end on one side, running back on the other, and chip either way, depending on where they line up Stewart.
But let me say this, and we may have to pick this conversation up tomorrow. Wyatt, valid concern that we started 4-0 last year, but after the 4-0 start, man, we were so inconsistent up and down. And we keep hinting at this Ryan Williams comment, and we may have to go deeper on it tomorrow. But let me tell you what that statement says as a former player is we're not going to underestimate anybody. In our eyes, they might be an ant, and we're not bringing a fly swatter to the table. We're bringing a sledgehammer to every single game. That because I think what Alabama did was they underestimated Vanderbilt, okay, and I think they underestimated Oklahoma based on their record. The Tennessee is a legit loss, okay. I mean, you're at their stadium, you play
in a playoff team,
yeah, and all that. But those two losses, I think you looked at them and saw them as an ant and less than you, and you did not take them serious. You didn't have that fire in your eyes. He called it red-eyed. You know, we're not looking for revenge, but we are going to bring a sledgehammer to every single game. Respond. That's why I don't think you'll see the inconsistency.
No, I agree with that. I like that mentality. I like that approach. Bring your egg. Bring what you brought to Georgia every week.
Yeah, and part of that, the other part, and we can talk about this as well, is that I think this is now his team in chemistry, and everybody bought in. I think that they were still battling chemistry and, hey, we're Georgia and we've always won. I mean, we're Alabama, we've always won. And I think they, like I said, I don't think that they had that mentality, and it was still a battle of the two cultures between Saban and DeBoer, even though they had won, and it didn't show its ugly head until they found themselves in conflict. This is now DeBoer's program. I don't care what anybody says. When you look at the fact that no one left after spring, pretty much 2 years in a row, and the fact that he didn't lose a lot of guys in December, this is his program. And I think that's why Alabama, if they're 4-0 after Georgia, they will I want to say run the table to the playoffs, to the championship game. Yeah, that's my prediction. All right, close us out. Trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Take it out of here, X.
Hey, this is Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. On this Thursday edition, we had, of course, Tony Christian Ford sitting in with us, as she does on Thursdays, and Wyatt Fulton pressing all the right buttons. Y'all have a blessed Thursday, and we'll catch you back tomorrow.
Roll Tide!
We gon' celebrate and have a
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.